If you're stuck at home looking for some binge-worthy content and you love cars, you've come to the right place. We've put together a list of the 10 best car movies. Number 10, Truth in 24. A real-life look into one of the most famous and grueling races in motorsports, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The film follows Team Audi on a quest for their 5th straight victory as they face their first serious challenge in years from Peugeot. Audi had won 7 of the previous 8 races with their R8 gas-powered car and revolutionary R10 diesel-powered car. With several of the drivers' personal stories woven into the bigger challenge from Peugeot, Truth in 24 doesn't need a Hollywood-style plot to be entertaining. Number 9, Senna. Ayrton Senna would have turned 60 this year as the film about the great Brazilian driver turns 10. This documentary showcases the multifaceted nature of one of F1's best. From his steely on-track determination, his religious convictions, and his humanitarian efforts, Senna was so much more than his famous quote,
"If you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver."
Senna also pushed for increased safety in the sport. His death at the San Marino Grand Prix in 1994 led to the creation of the FIA Expert Advisory Safety Committee, and for 20 years there were 0 deaths in the sport. Number 8, Baby Driver. This super stylish heist film blends its musical score with the on-screen action in a way few films do. Songs peak as a scene crescendos, sure, but character actions, scene cuts, and even gunfire sync with the beat. To top it off, the driving stunts are done almost entirely without special effects. Baby puts his red Subaru WRX through the sort of workout that would make Ken Block blush. Number 7, Mad Max Fury Road. Fury Road is essentially one long car chase. A beautifully shot, action-packed, smart social commentary of a car chase, but a car chase nonetheless. Tom Hardy stars as the eponymous main character of Few Words. It's Charlize Theron as Furiosa, however, who is arguably the center of the film. She drives the brutal War Rig, an enormous Tatra Chevrolet combination with 2 V8 engines. The film's baddie, Immortan Joe, drives something called a Gigahorse. It's a grotesque pairing of 2 1959 Cadillac DeVilles in total steampunk glory. Number 6, Days of Thunder. Days of Thunder can be summed up pretty simply. Top Gun plus NASCAR. And what's wrong with that? Tom Cruise stars as young hotshot Cole Trickle with a preternatural gift for whatever the movie calls for. Trickle must learn the unique challenges of the big stock cars to find success at the Daytona 500, all the while fighting off competition both in and outside his team. The story is about as deep as the treads on a race slick, but that's not the point. Days of Thunder is about the spectacle and the quotes. Rubbin' is racing after all. Impressively, the team actually raced the movie cars on several occasions to get authentic race footage. We couldn't make a list about car movies without including one of Will Ferrell's best, Talladega Nights. The world of NASCAR already breeds its own real-life parody-like characters, so when Adam McKay and Will Ferrell presented their idea to Sony with only a 6-word pitch, Will Ferrell as a NASCAR driver, they knew they had to make this movie. With plenty of realistic racing, big NASCAR smash-ups, and a plethora of hilarious quotes, this movie even inspired Carl Edwards to follow in Ricky Bobby's footsteps, literally, when he jogged to the finish line after his crash in the 2009 Aaron's 499 race. Ricky Bobby would not be pleased with his ranking though. Like he always says,
"You ain't first, you're last."
Number 4, Rush. As any motorsports fan will tell you, Formula One is rife with real-world dramatic tales, and the story of James Hunt and Niki Lauda was no different. Hunt was the British playboy, Lauda the cerebral Austrian. A disastrous crash at the Nürburgring mid-season nearly killed Lauda, but despite permanent disfiguring damage, Lauda recovered, returning to the grid after only missing 2 races. The movie shows the stark contrast between 2 racing greats, as well as the common bonds they had. Lauda was actively a part of the movie's production, advising the screenwriter and helping Brühl nail his Austrian accent, but he sadly passed away in 2019. Number 3, Fast 5. With 8 films in the Fast and Furious franchise, obviously we'd be including one of them. A 9th is on the way too, though Dom and co couldn't fight off COVID-19 and it's delayed until 2021. So why number 5? There are a bunch of reasons. For starters, it ushers in more or less the current team, with Dominic, Brian, Mia, Tay, Han, and Roman. It also introduced Dwayne Johnson's Hobbs character. Fast 5 manages to blend more of the feel of the earlier movies with what's increasingly become superhero flicks that happen to feature cars. It does have an exotic locale, but that works in its favor too. Rio de Janeiro is all colorful beauty. Number 2, Gone in 60 Seconds. In possibly Nick Cage's best performance, other than Wicker Man.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah!
This all-American action-packed heist movie brings you an A-list cast, A-list cars, and A-list chases. When Cage's character Memphis Reigns is forced to steal 50 cars in 3 days to save his brother's life, him and his crew bring together some of the best cars the automotive industry has to offer, including one of the most iconic movie cars of all time, Eleanor, the tastefully modified 67 Shelby GT500. Although what starts out as one of the coolest car chases ever, ends with one of the cheesiest physics-defying stunt jumps of all time. Number 1, Ford vs. Ferrari. As the latest big-ticket car flick, and an Oscar-nominated one at that, Ford vs. Ferrari is an easy recommendation. It tells one of the most well-known stories in the automotive world of Ford's failed buyout of Ferrari and its subsequent mission to embarrass the prancing horse on its own turf at Le Mans. With Matt Damon as Carroll Shelby, the racer-turned-builder tasked with leading the GT40 program to success. Shelby enlists hot-headed British driver Ken Miles, played by Christian Bale, to lead the development of the car, which went on to win Le Mans 4 consecutive times in various forms. Filled with drama, heart, and plenty of on-track eye candy, Ford vs. Ferrari is rounded enough that it can even keep the non-petrol heads entertained. Well, that should give you enough content to waste a day or two while we wait for things to get back to normal. If you have other movies you'd like to share, feel free to mention them in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe.